Beneath the breathtaking landscapes of Georgia lie secrets most travelers never uncover. Stories of survival, danger, and forgotten history. Imagine sleeping beside something so unexpected it defies belief, or a road so treacherous it could vanish beneath you if you misjudged the season. Picture an entire city hidden inside a mountain until an earthquake tore open the cliffs, or a cathedral said to guard an object belonging to Christ beneath its ancient stones. This isn't just a journey through Georgia's beauty, it's an unraveling of the stories the land has kept hidden, shaped by time, legend, and the raw forces of nature. Beneath the modern streets of Tbilisi, Georgia's capital, lies another city entirely, a labyrinth of tunnels, chambers, and ruins mostly untouched and off-limits. This underground world, buried beneath layers of history, remains a mystery even to most locals. But that's just one of Georgia's enigmas. The country's unique alphabet, with its elegant curves, is believed by some to have been inspired by the peaks of the Caucasus Mountains, one of the few scripts in the world shaped by the land itself. The Georgian language, unrelated to Russian, Arabic, or even Indo-European tongues, stands as a linguistic island, a family of its own. Even more intriguing, remote mountain communities once spoke a secret ritual language, passed down orally and never written, used in ceremonies in times of war, now nearly vanished. Georgia's history runs impossibly deep, with a culture that has endured for over 10,000 years, making it one of the oldest continuous civilizations on Earth. The land itself holds extremes, like the Vardzia cave, the deepest on the planet, plunging more than 2,100 meters into darkness, with passages still unexplored. In quiet mountain villages, it's not unusual for people to live past 100, a phenomenon that remains unexplained. During Soviet times, there was even a plan to turn the Black Sea into a giant freshwater lake, starting with Georgia's rivers, a project so ambitious it sounds like fiction. Even the legends here feel alive. Wolves in Georgian folklore are sacred, believed to be the spirits of fallen warriors protecting the land. High in the Caucasus, the village of Ushguli stands as one of the most remote and extraordinary settlements in Europe, perched at 2,100 meters above sea level. Surrounded by snow-capped peaks, it's a place where time moves differently. The village is famous for its ancient swan towers, built between the 9th and 12th centuries, not just for show, but for survival. When danger came, families would climb inside, remove the ladders, and seal themselves in, turning the towers into impenetrable fortresses. Today, Ushguli's 200 residents live much as their ancestors did, herding sheep and making cheese, with electricity only arriving in the early 2000s. It's a place of stone, sky, and silence, often called one of the most beautiful villages in the world. Tbilisi, Georgia's capital, is a city of wild contrasts, where Persian-style domes, Soviet-era blocks, and futuristic glass towers stand side by side, somehow harmoniously. Founded in the 5th century after a falcon-led king Vakhtang Gorgasali to a hot spring, the city has always been a place of unexpected turns. The Bridge of Peace, a glowing glass walkway, lights up at night like something from a sci-fi film, while the sulfur baths of Abanotubani offer a steamy, centuries-old escape, complete with a firm scrub and slap from a bath attendant. And no visit is complete without a glass of Kvevri wine, made in ancient clay pots buried underground, a tradition Georgia has perfected over 8,000 years. Hidden in the cliffs of southern Georgia, the cave city of Vardzia was once invisible, carved entirely into the mountain wall. Built in the 12th century under Queen Tamar, it was a sprawling complex of churches, wine cellars, and living quarters, until an earthquake tore open the cliff face, revealing it to the world. At its peak, Vardzia housed thousands, with irrigation systems still functioning today. Now it's a jaw-dropping testament to Georgia's ingenuity and resilience. To reach Tusheti, one of Georgia's wildest regions, you must cross the Abano Pass, a narrow dirt road climbing to nearly 2,150 meters, often ranked among the most dangerous in the world. But the reward is worth it. A land of untouched alpine wilderness, ancient stone villages, and the Tush people, who still live as their ancestors did, shepherding livestock and upholding traditions unchanged by time. For most of the year, Tusheti is cut off by snow, vanishing into the mountains like a well-kept secret. In Kazbegi, the Gergeti Trinity Church stands alone at 2,170 meters, backed by the towering Mount Kazbek. Legend says Prometheus was chained here, and the church itself was built to hide sacred relics from invaders. The surrounding landscape is a hiker's dream: glaciers, waterfalls, and the dramatic Daryal Gorge, once a key passage on the Silk Road. Batumi, Georgia's Black Sea jewel, feels like a surreal mix of Vegas and a Mediterranean resort. Neon-lit towers, a Ferris wheel built into a skyscraper, and a bustling promenade. Yet just blocks away, Old Town's cobbled streets and Ottoman balconies whisper of a quieter past. The Batumi Botanical Garden, a lush paradise, feels worlds away from the city's electric energy. Martvili Canyon, in western Georgia, is a hidden paradise of turquoise water and smooth limestone cliffs. Once a private retreat for nobles, it's now a place where visitors can boat through glowing pools or walk along clifftop paths, surrounded by untouched beauty. Bashumi, a seasonal village in the Ajara Mountains, empties out each winter, only to come alive in summer with pine forests and crisp air. It's a place to slow down, breathe, and escape, where life simplifies to nature and time. Minskata, Georgia's ancient spiritual heart, is home to the Svetitsk-Kovali Cathedral, where legend says Christ's robe is buried beneath the floor. This sacred site, set where two rivers meet, has been a center of faith for centuries, its streets steeped in history. In Kakheti, Georgia's wine country, wine is buried underground in clay kfevri, fermenting naturally for a rich, earthy flavor. This 8,000-year-old tradition is still alive in family cellars and festive supras, where endless toasts and feasts celebrate life. The rock-hewn city of Tbilisi, dating back to 1000 BC, is a maze of caves carved into a cliff, once home to 20,000 people. It's a place where pagan temples and Christian churches overlap, a testament to Georgia's layered history. Signagi, the city of love, perches above the Alazani Valley, its pastel houses and cobbled streets straight from a fairy tale. Couples come at any hour to marry, thanks to 24/7 wedding registration, while the town's wine cellars and mountain views make it irresistibly romantic. Borjomi, nestled in the Lesser Caucasus, is famed for its mineral-rich, naturally fizzy water, once reserved for royalty, now drawn by visitors from around the world. The town's quiet streets and forested trails offer a peaceful retreat, where the water's unique taste is just the beginning. Georgia is a land of contrasts, ancient and modern, wild and refined, where legends feel alive and history is written in the land itself. From hidden caves to towering peaks, every corner holds a story waiting to be discovered. The road to Tusheti isn't for the faint-hearted. Winding through the Abano Pass at nearly 3,000 meters altitude, this treacherous mountain route disappears completely under snow for 8 months each year. Local drivers navigate the crumbling edges with casual precision that would give most passengers vertigo. But those who brave the journey are rewarded with one of Europe's last truly wild frontiers, where shepherds still lead flocks across high alpine meadows using methods unchanged since the Bronze Age. The Tush people, with their distinctive wool cloaks and towering stone defensive towers, have preserved traditions here that have vanished elsewhere in the continent. Their polyphonic singing, recognized by UNESCO, echoes through valleys where wolves still roam freely. In the village of Omalo, the Anatori burial site tells a haunting story. During a 17th century plague outbreak, healthy villagers voluntarily walled themselves inside tombs with the sick to prevent the disease's spread. This extreme act of sacrifice preserved their community, and today the silent stone structures stand as memorials to their courage. Further into the mountains, the Casello Towers rise like something from a fantasy novel, a cluster of medieval fortifications clinging to a rocky outcrop. Each was built by a different family clan, their heights competing for status and security in this lawless border region. The Tusheti protected landscape hides another secret: the sacred groves where pagan rituals persisted long after Christianity arrived. In these forest clearings, travelers might stumble upon stone shrines decorated with animal horns and offerings of cheese and bread. Even today, shepherds follow ancient taboos against cutting certain trees or hunting in these sanctuaries. The most remote villages like Dartlo appear frozen in time, Their slate-roofed houses connected by stone pathways, worn smooth by centuries of use. Here the rhythm of life follows the seasons, spring lambing, summer grazing, autumn harvests, as it has for generations. Descending from Tbilisi's heights, the landscape transforms dramatically at the Alazani Valley floor. Suddenly the air grows warm, the vegetation lush, and the scent of ripening grapes hangs heavy. This is Caucasus, Georgia's wine country, where vineyards stretch to the horizon in orderly rows. But the real magic happens underground, in the Qvevri, enormous clay vessels buried up to their necks in earth. These have been used for winemaking here for at least 8,000 years, making Georgia arguably the birthplace of viticulture. The natural fermentation process creates orange wines with complex flavors that have captivated sommeliers worldwide. At the Twins Winehouse in Tbilisi, visitors can see Qvevri being made using the same techniques from antiquity. The master potters shape the vessels by hand, sealing them with beeswax before firing them in wood-burning kilns. Nearby at Shukman Winery, a modern twist on tradition combines temperature-controlled Qvevri with classic methods. But for the most authentic experience, nothing beats a family Marani wine cellar like the Vanishvilis in Tbilisi, where generations have been making wine in their backyard Qvevri. The patriarch will proudly show his 200-year-old vessels still in use, while his wife prepares a feast of shoti bread, badrijani nikvzit, eggplant with walnuts, and steaming kinkli dumplings. The Alazani Valley also hides architectural treasures like the Gremi Citadel, a 16th-century royal complex that was once Caucasus' capital. Its beautifully preserved Church of the Archangels contains frescoes that miraculously survived the Persian invasions. Nearby, the Nekrisi Monastery complex sprawls across a mountainside, its earliest structures dating to the 4th century. The climb rewards visitors with panoramic views across the valley to the snow-capped Greater Caucasus beyond. As evening falls in Caucasus, the Supra feast begins. No ordinary meal, this is a ritual governed by strict traditions. The Tamada, Toastmaster, leads a series of elaborate toasts to ancestors, to love, to the future, each accompanied by a glass of amber-colored wine. The drinking horns passed around the table must never be set down until empty, a challenge for even seasoned drinkers. Between toasts, the table groans under the weight of dishes, sizzling mitzvadi, shish kebabs, khali vegetable pate, and bubbling cheese-filled khachapuri. The singing starts spontaneously, haunting polyphonic harmonies that seem to emerge from the earth itself. Few places blur the line between myth and reality like Vardzia, Georgia's legendary cave city. Carved into the sheer cliffs of the Arasheti Mountain in the 12th century, this underground fortress was designed to be invisible from afar, until an earthquake ripped open its facade, exposing a labyrinth of tunnels, churches, and wine cellars. Walking through its dimly lit passages, you can still see the soot marks from medieval torches on the ceilings, the remnants of frescoes in rock-hewn chapels, and the ingenious water channels that once fed the entire city. Queen Tamar, Georgia's most revered ruler, used Vardzia as both a military stronghold and a spiritual retreat. Legend says she had a secret tunnel leading to the Mitkvari River, an escape route that's never been found. But Vardzia isn't Georgia's only underground marvel. Just outside Gori lies Tbilisi, a 3,000-year-old cave city older than Christianity itself. Unlike Vardzia's hidden design, Tbilisi was built to impress. A sprawling complex of grand halls, pagan temples, and even an ancient theater, all carved into sandstone. At its peak, it housed 20,000 people, with secret tunnels connecting it to the river below. Today, you can still see the grooves in the stone where wine was pressed, the sacrificial altars where animals were offered to sun gods, and the eerie Tamar's throne, a chair-shaped rock where the queens supposedly held court. Beneath the streets of Tbilisi, another underworld waits. The city sits atop natural sulfur springs, and for centuries, locals have bathed in its steaming, mineral-rich waters. The Abanotubani district is a maze of domed bathhouses, where the air smells of rotten eggs, the sulfur, and the walls drip with condensation. The most famous, or Baliani baths, looks like a Persian palace with its blue-tiled facade. Inside, attendants scrub visitors with rough mitts before slapping their backs with soapy towels, a tradition said to improve circulation. But the real secret: some baths have private underground pools dating back to the 17th century, where nobles once plotted in secrecy. Even Georgia's wine culture has roots underground. In Kakheti, families still ferment wine in kuvevri, massive clay pots buried in the earth. The process, unchanged for 8,000 years, gives Georgian wine its distinctive amber hue and bold tannic flavor. Some cellars, like those in Tel Aviv, have kuvevri older than America, still in use today. But perhaps the most haunting underground site is Ananuri Fortress's hidden crypts. Beneath this 17th century castle on the Aragvi River, narrow staircases lead to forgotten burial chambers where noble families were interred with their treasures. Locals whisper that the ghosts of betrayed princes still wander the passages. A reminder that in Georgia, even the earth beneath your feet has stories to tell. But Batumi by night is a fever dream. One moment you're strolling past 19th century Italianate mansions, the next you're staring at a 130-meter steel tower where two robot lovers slowly merge into a single figure every hour. This is Georgia's Black Sea coast, where Belle Epoque elegance collides with Vegas-like absurdity. The alphabetic tower, its DNA-like helix glowing with 33 Georgian letters, spins above a promenade where old men play backgammon on Soviet-era concrete benches. But the real magic happens at 3 a.m. when the tide recedes, revealing the secret sea garden, a submerged art installation of stone sculptures only visible at low tide. Just 20 minutes inland, the climate shifts dramatically. The Mimtarala National Park, weeping forest, drips with 4 meters of annual rainfall, creating a Jurassic world of hanging moss and waterfalls. Here, locals collect magic clay from riverbanks, a greenish substance used for detox rituals since Caucasus times. Further north, the ghost resort of Ureki sits abandoned, its magnetic black sand beaches still glowing under moonlight. Soviet scientists swore the sand cured arthritis, but the sanatoriums now stand empty, their parabolic roofs sprouting birch trees. Now we ascend to Svaneti, where blood feuds once lasted generations. The Svan towers piercing the skyline weren't just for defense, they were social media. Each notch in the stone ladder marked a family milestone: births, deaths, vengeance exacted. In Mestia's Svaneti Museum, you'll find 10th century kuvevri crosses, Christian relics melted down from pagan gold. But the true wonder is Ushguli, Europe's highest village. When snow isolates the community for 8 months, they survive on kalti, butter preserved in animal bladders for decades. Some families still guard 500-year-old kaviria, pagan icons, in their kitchen shrines, despite the Orthodox priest's protests. Descending to Borjomi Gorge, the air turns pine-scented. This is where Stalin's favorite water comes from, the naturally sparkling Borjomi Springs. Soviet scientists were baffled. How did this water gain its minerals? The answer lay in the volcanic pipes deep below, where water travels 25 years before surfacing. Nearby, the Romanov Palace hides a tragic secret. Its marble floors were designed to echo footsteps, so Tsar Nicholas could hear assassins coming. It didn't help. He was still murdered in Yekaterinburg. The train to Bakuriani rattles past Stalin's dacha, now a surreal hotel where you can sleep in the dictator's bed. But the real oddity is the Kokhta Glacier, where Soviet engineers tested ice tanks during Webtuwan, believing frozen armor would be unstoppable. The prototypes still rust in a hidden hangar. Beneath the murky waters of Paliastomi Lake, sonar has detected massive stone walls, the remains of Dioscuria, a legendary port city swallowed by the sea 2,000 years ago. Greek historians wrote of its streets paved with silver, where merchants traded silk for the golden fleece of Caucasus. In 2021, divers recovered a 2,400-year-old mask of solid gold, its delicate features frozen in eternal serenity. Some believe it depicts King Aietes, Medea's father, proof that Jason's Argonaut legend began here. Nearby, the Vani archaeological site reveals a darker truth. Dozens of sacrificial altars where Colchian nobles were buried alive with their treasures. The most chilling find? A queen's skeleton draped in 300 golden appliques, her mouth stuffed with mercury. an ancient ritual to silence her spirit. David Gareja's forbidden frescoes. In Georgia's semi-desert, the David Gareja cave monasteries cling to cliffs like swallows' nests. For 1,500 years, monks here painted frescoes with lapis lazuli from Afghanistan, their blues still vibrant despite centuries of sun. But the real secret lies in the border zone, a labyrinth of caves seized by Azerbaijan in 1991. Georgian art historians whisper of a hidden chamber where 12th century knights painted their crusader shields beside Georgian crosses. No outsider has seen it in 30 years. At night, the desert plays tricks. Shepherds report singing sands, dunes that emit eerie tones when the wind hits 24 km/h. Scientists say it's quartz crystals vibrating. Monks insist it's the voices of 5,000 hermits buried in unmarked caves. Tbilisi's underground resistance beneath Rustaveli Avenue, a clandestine printing press from 1903, still stands intact. This is where revolutionaries forged passports using Tsarist-era watermarks stolen from the Royal Mint. The walls bear coded graffiti, a hammer painted with wine, a signal for safe houses, and a black rooster, warning of police raids. In Solalaki district, an unassuming cafe hides the radio kitchen, where dissidents broadcast anti-Soviet messages through sewer pipes in the 1980s. The original microphone is still there, disguised as a soup ladle. The language of wolves in Tusheti's forests, shepherds use a whistled language called Kevsuruli to communicate across valleys. But the most extraordinary survival tactic belongs to the wolves. Researchers have recorded packs imitating human speech patterns, specifically the rising-falling tones of Georgian folk songs. Locals say the wolves learned this to lure shepherds away from flocks. Epilogue: The Eternal Flame of Mtsketa. Back in Mtsketa, beneath Svetitskovely Cathedral, a flame has burned uninterrupted for 1,700 years. Fed by a hidden methane spring, it survived Mongol invasions, Soviet atheism, and modern neglect. The caretaker priest reveals its true purpose. This fire was lit when we buried Christ's robe. It doesn't just burn, it watches.